Believe it or not, failing itself is actually something that is beneficial. Think about time when you're little, such as you being a baby, and throughout your time you grew up and you essentially learn how to walk, how to use certain things, how to practice a certain lifestyle. But guess what? You learn all of that through the process of failing, and which is why failing itself is so powerful and imaginable. First thing first, you gotta be able to accept failure and learn to fail from the beginning. Because in many times, the fastest way to learn something is to fail. And which is why you often see entrepreneurs start up so many business where they fail over again and they climb back up and keep going because they know the fact that you learn the fastest when you fail. And with the strong execution of doing certain thing, you will learn much more and in a faster pace. And when learning to accept failure, it simply give you a momentum to do something because if you already have that in mind that you're gonna fail that subject, but later you end up being achieving and successful in that subject, think about how much difference you will make. You will be so much more proud of yourself when you do something that you think you would have failed at first, but you end up succeeding it and then giving you a more better result than what you would have expected. And with that coming along, you gotta fail faster. The faster you fail, the faster you learn. And like I say so many times, I personally spend so much time failing, even in school, in life, and a lot of stuff I practice. Because I believe that the more quality, more quantity work you do, it's gonna essentially lead to better quality. Because oftentimes when you spend more time failing, such as losing a game, you're gonna have that feeling of where you want to win the next one and you essentially want to work harder towards it and against the game system because you feel the struggle. You feel like it's uncomfortable and you want to get on to the next level. And which why it may take multiple time of trying, just like you passing each level in Mario. And you essentially lead to the final goal, which is passing all the level and you achieve your goal essentially. And when you accept failure, trust me, you won't leave any regret behind because at the end of the day, it's much more important to leave no regret behind than rather than being right and then having all the regret in the world. Just like Elon Musk once said, he would rather be wrong about something that he truly enjoyed doing and he truly believed in rather than doing something right that he don't even believe in at all. So, for example, if he believed that 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, then he would rather be wrong and believe in that thing because he truly think that finding something that he truly passionate in and discovering it and follow through the whole entire process is much more important because failing and successing is not like the final answer of everything because everything happens for a reason and you simply accept the failure part and you learn from it and you grow from it and you see yourself next time you get to avoid that problem and maybe you could help someone else achieving it, which why so many people selling course nowadays. And look, and often reason why I don't want to be biased on this, but it's really true what people say, like smart people, intelligent people, they're afraid to fail because they want to make everything like the best of the best one time, first try, which lead to a lot of missed opportunity laying down on a table. However, on the flip side, sometimes they might be just smart about their decision because they know the risk and reward, they know the consequences behind it. But guess what? If you don't got any of the talent, the skill, or anything, simply just have execution and go do it until you be successful in it. And simply, the more time you fail, the more you're gonna learn. So I'll take my story as an example. When I first started marketing, I did not know how to really work, such as throwing in money down the drain, boosting a certain Instagram ads, or whatsoever. But as I'm learning, I've become to notice how using someone post that went viral, using their idea and take that idea and put it on mine, which essentially lead to so much more organic reach and which is far more powerful than me doing it the first time. Because if I was able to do it right the first time, then I would never know if I was wrong or right. Because in order to know if your answer is correct or not, you gotta have the wrong answer for sure, right? So you know what is wrong and you exclude all of that, and then you will have the correct and right choices that you make. And when I say smart people are scared to fail, because sometimes they might be just too smart about everything because they thought of this, thought of that, think of the risk, think of that. But sometimes there is going to be risk in something, and you just have to take the risk and have to give it a shot and see what it turned out. Because just like you're investing in different company itself, you're not gonna know if that company is gonna grow exponentially. Even you have analysis, sometimes they might be wrong, but at least you gotta give it a shot because there's a possibility, and you just don't know if it's gonna happen in a short time of period, or is it never gonna ever happen? So simply giving out a try, it build up your experience and then give you another wider view of certain thing you see. Comparing to if you never have tried it, all you could do is just speak on it and all the comment on it. Because if you actually did something and you fail and you end up making it better and learn from it, you have so much more to say because you're so much more authentic than someone else that doesn't have any idea or they just speaking from the sideline about a certain subject. And which should lead to my next point, which is strong execution. Which why I say you gotta go do it, and which why at Nike is to say just do it. Simply doing the stuff, you're already beating 99% of the people on this world because often people are scared to take the first step. And by simply taking the first step, you already beat yourself because you already move on from the previous level and the previous you already change and develop from that. So don't be afraid to make certain mistake. If you like that girl, go ask her out. Like, want to do something, just go do it because life is too short for all of the regression and all of the rewind and thinking and reflection. Sometimes just simply go do it. You already will see half of the result. Just like one of the famous people once said, when you got a question, just by writing it down, you already solved 15% of the question. Because simply rephrasing the question, you kind of do it running it again in your mind. Like, for example, if you run into a test, you got a question that you absolutely don't know, bro. Like, write it out, read it over like few times, think of it from a different perspective. Why did the professor or the teacher want to give a question like this to you? And you could take that from that side point of view and then solve your answer because there's so many ways to approach a certain question where you don't have to directly answer the question because oftentimes if smart people, they often give out questions that may lead you into a trap in the way they want you to go and want your thinking to go. So simply thinking of the differences and having the strong execution doing a certain thing, you might bypass that trap. You might end up solving the question way faster, more efficient, and you just never know. And another case is having strong execution is don't be afraid to make a mistake. For example, I lose like thousand of tens of thousands of dollars in the stock market. But guess what? I never stopped trying. I didn't say I just want to give up there because simply I know I'm learning each time I invest. However, if you're taking that like a gamble, like believe it or not, that's just like worst case, which how I was in the beginning. You're not learning anything in which the execution isn't correct. Even though it looks like you're doing something, but you're actually moving backwards. So it's so important to identify yourself, whether or not if the thing you're doing, you're right. Because throughout the process, you got to be able to reflect on your move, your action, and then see how you could improve on the next time. And that's what you truly call strong execution. And lastly, you got to look at most of the stuff, almost everything from a macro perspective and from a micro perspective. And when you look at the micro perspective, you look at the smaller detail, such as going through the detail. For example, when iPhone was made, there was so much more detail where they don't want it to be a box shape. They want the curve on the side. They want a certain color, such as a silver and a black color. And later on, all the other color comes in along the way. But guess what? From a macro perspective, you got to look at the marketing stuff. You got to see what people truly need in their life and what problem or Steve Jobs are solving for other people, which why it lead to a successful product we see today. And when I say look at a macro perspective and a bigger picture, it's like even you fail like one time or small time, but think about how much time you got in your life. Like you don't have to rush it to get that answer correct on the first try or in that certain amount of period. You have so much more time on average people at least 60 years old. You got time to figure it out. So you don't have to worry about being too late on a certain trend or not being able to catch the boat or whatever that is, such as an economic boom that you missed. But there's always more opportunity because, such as in the stock market, when you sell a stock, somebody got to buy it. And when you buy a stock, somebody got to sell it. So it's always a trade off and equilibrium. And you simply look at stuff from a bigger picture. Like you just know when you make money, someone else is losing money. So this world, everything is going in a cycle and it's in a balanced way where oftentimes you make one small mistake, it's not end of the world. You don't have to take it too serious because often people take it too serious where they fail at one time and they're scared to approach it again next time. But if you look at it from a bigger picture, such as losing money one day in a stock, for example, losing like $100 in your account from that day, you might feel so bad. You just don't feel like doing anything at all. You just feel like, man, that sucked a lot. That's like end of the day, end of the world. But guess what? If you look at it from a bigger macro perspective picture, you have 365 days, well, minus the weekend, which they might not be open, and as well as holiday, you still have at least 300 plus day on the market to get all that money back and to go re-engage in the problem and then solving it again and then maybe finding a different investment and better analysis. Like look at stuff from a big picture and perspective, you would just see that the problem isn't that crazy and isn't that huge. It's not end of the world, and it will never be. And if the problem not solved, guess what? It's not the end. It's that simple. But here's why, and all of the thought, I think how being able to fail and then learning the process of failing is so important because you're achieving something and you're learning something. And if you know how to take advantage of failing, that's a way of leverage. Because often, if you know how to take advantage of failing, I bet you will know understand how to take advantage of winning because it just feels so much greater and better.